Well, good morning. It's July 6th, I believe, and we're now 16 days into our crossing from Kauai, Hawaii to Sitka. And today is significant on a couple of levels. One is, as you can probably tell, I'm hoping you can tell by the brightness, that we actually have sunshine. And sunshine we have not had for about 5 days. For about 5 days, it's been low and gray, as I've said on the blog. Just undifferentiated cloud, and it has driven me crazy because it just leaves you with really nothing to look at. But today, and I'll show you a little more in a minute, today we actually have some beautiful sunshine, beautiful cumulus clouds, some blue sky, and that little extra light just makes everything look so much more grand. It unfortunately doesn't seem to do anything for the temperature, however. It's still bloody cold. When I woke up this morning, the cabin was 41 degrees. It's come up to about 44 degrees, and that's probably as good as it'll get. The water temperature as of yesterday, I think, was 41.5 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's still relatively chilly for a guy who's spent the last year and a half in the tropics, where the temperature's been 75 to 85 Fahrenheit. So I'm very wrapped up. I think I finally got the clothing thing figured out. I have, for example, a t-shirt, followed by a long sleeve shirt, followed by a long sleeve fleece pullover, followed by a long sleeve fleece zip up, followed by a very thick anorak fleece over that my sister got me some years ago, and I've never worn it because it's too big. It's about 3 sizes too big, which is great because with all the fleeces underneath it, I really need something that's 3 sizes too big. So that's what I have on right now, and then also this what we call this heavy weather fowlie, which I wear when I'm outside. So that's what I've got on my top side. Down below, I didn't plan so well. I thought I had 2 fleeces for my legs, and only one of them is on board. And so what I have down below is a fleece, 2 pair of khaki pants, one stuffed inside the other, and then an overly large pair of camping pants pulled over the top that are kind of slightly windbreakery. And that's done okay. So if I've got this some kind of windbreak covering on, then I'm pretty good outside pretty much any time. And so that finally kind of got that figured out. The first couple of days of being cold were just cold and miserable, but we've engineered a way now to stay warm. So that's kind of the situation today. So I said earlier that we've achieved 2 milestones. One was sunshine, be it ever so white, and the other is that we are now officially above latitude 50, which means that we are now sailing in the mythic high latitudes. When we talk about high latitudes as sailors, we're oftentimes referring to the high latitudes of the Southern Ocean, down there below Cape Horn and Cape Good Hope. So we went the other way. I don't know that my little boat is up for a trip around Cape Horn, but still it is quite thrilling to have MER in the high latitudes of the Pacific, because this is where a lot of adventure has happened over the years. So we're getting there. Sitka is at 57 degrees north, something around 135 west. We're at almost 51 degrees north and about 151 west. We have another 680 miles to go. So we're making it. The only really big challenge over the last week has been battery power, partly because we don't have any sun and my solar panels don't operate all that well in such a format, and partly something I didn't anticipate was that batteries don't perform well when they're cold. They don't charge as well, and they don't hold charge as well. So I've been forced to run the engine almost every day, and for much more extended periods than I thought I would, because the batteries are also having a tough time. They're a bit chilly. At 40 degrees, they don't accept charge very quickly, and so it takes a long time to get them up to snuff. But that's the way it goes. A little tour of the boat then. Show you kind of what the day looks like. And you'll excuse me while I move around, I hope. I thought you'd be interested in a couple of things in the cockpit. One is I've got a couple of green jugs. You'll see one over at the top there. Green jugs of water that I've collected for the University of Hawaii. One of them near the concrete dock that we came across, and the other one at around latitude 41 north. And U of H is testing for radiation in the water from the power plant that had a bit of a meltdown right after the tsunami. And then in the blue bucket, there we have fresh water. It rained most of yesterday morning, and for quite a long time. And so I put a bucket underneath the boom and collected some fresh water so I can wash my head and my face in fresh water as opposed to salt. But the water is cold, and I haven't had the guts to do anything with it yet, and I may not. So we'll see. Anyway, here's what the day looks like at latitude 51 almost north, latitude 51 in the Pacific Ocean, at about 150 west, and really a pretty day, in my opinion. We're making about 6 knots, sometimes a little more, on about I'd say 15, 17 knots of wind from the west. I have one reef and everything, but it's enough to really push us along quite nicely. So, lovely morning. And with that, if you will excuse me, I am going to go make a cup of hot cocoa.